Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my co-owner and commentary Ashton, and this is our Lucha Underground review. And guys, what can I say? This was the second round of the TWitWoW Cup, and some very interesting matches, some even more interesting cinematics, and just an all-around fun show. And I will say, for one particular performer, this might have been their coming out party. They might be getting ready to take things to a whole other level, and I've just got the stupidest grin on my face thinking about it. But I'm going to hand it over to my co-owner and commentary, Ashton. Bro, what did you think of tonight's episode?
This was such a wonderful episode, and not just because one of my, if not my number one favorite underrated, underappreciated performer in the Temple got a major spotlight, and we found out that he's going to get even more of a spotlight next week, but also because there was just a lot of good on this show. Between really the final two matches were both really good, not to mention we had some really strong cinematics tonight that I'm excited to talk about. First match was kind of a nothing match, but it was a good character piece. And yeah, I mean, I'm ready to get into this whenever you are.
Absolutely. So let us get right into our Lucha Underground review. And we open up after our usual, recap, kind of setting the table for what's going to unfold tonight. We get a cinematic with Prince Puma. Now, partner, I'm going to have you carry the load on this one because, as you know, I was going through some technical issues. So set the scene for us.
Well, we kind of have an interesting shot of Puma on the roof of the temple, and he's having these crazy flashbacks of all these kind of moments of him losing matches and losing the championship, him losing to Mill at the end of season 1, and then one of the Grave Consequences matches. There have been 4 by now, I think, maybe even 5. I don't even remember. I can't keep track. And losing the title match that he got with Mundo after Mundo won the title, and just all of these sort of bad things that have happened to Puma over the course of the last couple of years. And then Vamp shows up and he says, listen, man, I know what you're going through. You're looking for peace and quiet, but there's only one way to quiet those voices, and that's by winning the Lucha Underground Championship again. And Puma says that, yeah, that's his only purpose. And they kind of agree that that's basically going to consume him until there's nothing left. So Vamp just kind of walks away, and simultaneously Worldwide Underground is shown arriving to the temple. Now, obviously, they're not on the same level as Puma because he is up on the roof and they're down on the ground. But he's kind of watching them as they walk into the temple. And we briefly see PJ Black notice Puma and flip him the double bird.
Yeah. I mean, PJ Black just brimming with confidence. I think it's just a great punctuation to the cinematic, given the turmoil that Puma is clearly going through, and that Vampiro, more importantly, is capitalizing on for his own gain. So a very interesting cinematic indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. So then we got our first match, which, I mean, it wasn't really much of anything because it was Pindar versus Cage. And it was really cool, the visual of seeing Pindar with the Trios Championship, because it's really easy with all of these singles matches, because it is a tournament, to forget that the Serpent Tribe did win the Trios Championships pretty much the episode before the TWitWoW Cup began. So those 3 are the champions. We haven't seen Vibora or Drago in a little while now, and Pindar is just coming back on this show, and he won the match, but not because he actually beat Cage. Cage threw a random meaningless lariat at Justin Borden early on in the match before there was even any physical contact. So Borden, while he was coming to, because Cage was literally setting up for the drill claw on Pindar when the bell rang. Cage was he was going to win the match in that instant. And then the bell rang, and it was a disqualification, and Pindar won.
Yeah, I mean, Cage just went absolutely berserk, even more animalistic than usual, which is very interesting given the character. And yeah, the night didn't get any better for Justin Borden, because Cage, I mean, if he was feeling aggressive before, and he had no qualms with anybody even before then. When Justin Borden awarded the victory to Pindar, well, Cage let Justin know exactly how he felt about that, and he made Justin the recipient of a drill claw. So, yeah, Cage has clearly popped his lid, and Pindar advances. So, Serpent Tribe and Pindar, who, honestly, you know what? I really like this because here's the thing. With the way Vibora lost, like his credibility was protected, right? And you could look at him and you could see him and you're like, I believe him. Any given night of the week, you put him up against virtually anybody, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to believe that Vibora can beat that guy. Cage, I felt that way about him even before the gauntlet. Now with the gauntlet, I'm like, it's inevitable that this guy's going to be Lucha Underground champion. I think this tournament, and it kind of harkens back to that little mini rant I went on with people being like, oh, why are these scrubs having these competitive matches with these people? Because these people need to have airs of credibility themselves to a certain degree. I mean, some obviously more than others, but I feel like this forum definitely benefits guys like Pindar, who definitely have their own intimidating look about them, but maybe needed that extra nudge because when you're sitting beside Vibora, who just looks like this ender of everything, right? I think Pindar really needed to show, like, yeah, look at me go, look at me do stuff. So I'm really glad he's advancing. I'm really glad he has this because now, granted, and this is where I'm hoping Lucha Underground can capitalize, you look at his first match, he beat Masquerita Sagrada. Not really the biggest feat. I mean, Masquerita is more competitive, but it's still Masquerita. This one was pretty much a gimme because Cage lost his shit. Now, who's Pindar going to face in the next round?
Phoenix.
See, now that'll at least be, even if Phoenix wins, that'll be a very competitive bout that will allow Pindar to show, hey, I'm nobody's punk. You know, I'm not a weak link or anything. You know, I think it could be because, look, even if we all accept that Phoenix is going to win, which he will.
Well, no, I'm not even getting at that. I'm getting at, like, we know, first of all, that Phoenix, honestly, we don't even know if Phoenix is going to be able to show up for that match after what Marty did to him. Second of all, if he does show up, we don't know if he's going to even make it to the ring because we saw tonight that there is nothing stopping people from attacking Cueto Cup participants on their way to the ring. Marty's still probably pissed at Phoenix.
That is true. That is true. It'd be curious. I guess what I'm getting at is even if it isn't Phoenix, I'm hoping that Pindar has one really hyper-competitive match before he exits the tournament, kind of like what PJ Black had tonight, which we'll get to, and I think we have plenty to say about that. But yeah, I'm fine with this for now, and I'm just really happy that Pindar has this. So what did you think about all the events?
I mean, yeah, Pindar moving on, really, I mean, don't get me wrong. Mascarita, not a gimme. It could be a gimme in another promotion, but in Lucha Underground, the minis are treated as just as legitimate as anybody. And Mascarita put up a legitimate fight in their match. So Mascarita, I don't want to call him like a gimme or an easy match or anything like that. But, you know, as far as the Temple goes, Mascarita's, even if you just want to pay attention to the win-loss record, Mascarita is one of the easier opponents in the Temple. So not a gimme, but definitely an easier fight than most had in the first round. That being said, the fact that he didn't really have to do much of anything in order to win this match, he is going to be in for the challenge of his life if he gets to the next round and Phoenix is fully in that match and we don't have some kind of Marty shenanigans that cost Phoenix the match.
Yeah. Because if that isn't the case, if Phoenix is actually able to compete, that's really going to bring the best out of Pindar. And plus, here's the thing, I'm actually kind of hoping Marty won't get involved because let's keep in mind that Phoenix still has ties to Pindar because he was 1/3 of the team that the Serpent Tribe beat for the Trios titles. So you win either way. You either defer to the Marty story and give that priority, or you allow Phoenix to continue to be a part of this story with the Serpent Tribe, or hell, with Lucha Underground, their answer is always, well, why not both? They could have Marty attack Phoenix in the post-match. Exactly. So, yeah, I think they're really going to let Phoenix have this match because he still has ties to that whole story going on, because him and Aerostar were talking about it in the cinematic just last week. So, yeah, I think it should really be a good match. I'm just really looking forward to Pindar being able to show everybody what he can really do. And that, I think, will really solidify his place in the tribe. So, that said, I got nothing else to say. So, unless you do, we can move on.
All right. Well, up next, we actually did kind of jump right into our second match of the night, which was Dante Fox versus Son of Havoc. Now, Dante Fox has got into the ring no problem, But then Son of Havoc, on his way to the ring, as I mentioned earlier, he got attacked from behind by, of course, Son of Madness. Now, I just want to point out the hypocrisy here, considering Son of Madness is the one who took Son of Havoc's colors. He was the one that perpetrated the crime, and then he still felt the level of anger and aggressiveness to continue instigating Son of Havoc. Like, there's just no reason for him to be doing this. If anything, Son of Havoc should be pissed at Son of Madness, but no, Son of Madness still angry, still trying to literally murder Son of Havoc, choking him out with a steel chain.
Yeah, honestly, brother, I know I'm a scumbag and I laugh at the shortcomings of others, but with Son of Havoc, I got kind of a soft spot. I would not blame that man if he was pissed off at the fucking world after all the shit he's been through. Because it's like, when does it stop?
So many different ways by now. It's unbelievable.
Like, if I'm him, I go to the back. I just have that deep sigh, like that.
Yeah.
Man, I've been screwed over again. And then I either cry, develop a drinking problem, or quit. But thankfully, Son of Havoc is 10 times the man that I am, so he persists. But I'm going to hand the ball over to you, partner, since I was more verbose in the prior segment. What did you think about this match here between Son of Havoc and Dante Fox?
It ended up being a lot longer and a lot better than I expected to be. Not that I didn't expect a good match out of these guys, but after the attack, I was expecting 5 minutes and Dante wins. Turns out we got closer to like 12 or 13 minutes and Dante still won. But while it lasted, it was a lot of fun. Very physical. These guys really went at each other. Lots of forearms, lots of chops, lots of, like lariats and open hand slaps. But really, I just felt like most of the match was just Dante dishing out punishment and Son of Havoc trying to find a way to come back from underneath.
Yeah, and that's really the perfect role for Son of Havoc. I love, and you made a great point on live reactions, because Dante does ultimately win this match with the Foxcatcher. But like you said, I love how protected Son of Havoc is, and it's really starting to sink in for me. I don't know how you feel. Maybe you disagree with me on this. Maybe people listening disagree with me on this. But I feel like with the story they're telling with him, if they have plans for him to be world champion, because you never know. I mean, maybe they don't. Maybe I'm just kind of seeing things. But if they do have plans for him to one day hold the Lucha Underground title, that title win is going to be a huge deal. Because between him getting screwed by Dr. Wagner and Cueto and everybody out of the Ultimate Lucha Trace the first time, and then Son of Madness screwing him the second time, and then, of course, Dario being unsympathetic and being like, well, I'm not going to push it back, so I either compete or forfeit. It really seems like Son of Havoc is that stone cold type, not in the sense of like drinking beer and throwing fingers. That's more Mac, but definitely being more bucking up against authority, fighting against authority that's fighting against me. Or maybe even a more apt comparison would be Daniel Bryan. It really
that's definitely a closer comparison to me, because he even has the beard for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Son of Havoc, in their own way, is kind of Lucha Underground's answer to Daniel Bryan. And for me, it's working, because I honestly can't wait to really see him get a legitimate shot at the Lucha Underground title, because I think he only got one title shot, and that was only because of Dario's Dial of Doom. That's it. So I'd love for him to have a legitimate story where he becomes #1 contender and gets to face the champion. I'd love for it to happen at an Ultima Lucha, because I think he's that much of a technico that he has that much love from the crowd. But, I mean, hell, every episode of Lucha Underground in one way or another feels like a pay-per-view. So if you would even just do it on an episode, I know they'd give it a shit ton of time. I know it would be emotional as hell. Like, I'm just really invested in him now, thanks to him constantly getting screwed over and everything. So yeah, definitely one of the best technicals I think they have on their roster, for sure.
Definitely, yeah. So as I said, Dante Fox did end up winning, and as you said, he did it with the Foxcatcher. So I think we can move on past this match. And up next, we actually had a cinematic where we saw Worldwide Underground with a new guy that we're unfamiliar with, that we end up finding out is Johnny Mundo's agent / lawyer that he was talking to Cueto about a few weeks ago.
Oh my God, this guy.
This guy is great. He's like a cross. I think we were saying in chat, he's like a cross between Joe Pesci, Donald Trump, John Lovitz, and who else? Danny DeVito. Like, you take those 4 guys, roll them in a ball, and out pops this guy. He is so good.
Oh, dude, absolutely. Like, you already kind of gave your thoughts. I was getting ready to throw the ball over to you, but just to kind of give my thoughts, I didn't know how to feel at first, but, like, you know what? I really dig this. This is a guy, and it fits so well with the Worldwide Underground gimmick, because what do they think they are? I mean, with Johnny and Ty especially, they feel like they're stars. They feel like they're the most important, which, I mean, obviously that's a fact. But, you know, like, they definitely have those personas about them. And then for this guy to come in and be like, oh, I see billboards and cereal boxes and, you know, this and that, it's so good. Like, he's not necessarily a Paul Heyman type, because Paul Heyman will tell you himself, like, he's like an advocate. He promotes big fights and stuff. This guy isn't a promoter in that way. He just sees Worldwide Underground as a brand that he can take to the absolute top. And I think he is a perfect fit for what this gimmick's all about. So I absolutely adore this for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's awesome. So, yeah, this guy's great. He, like you said, he tells them about everything that they should be getting and tells PJ, you know, you just do your job and win tonight, and, you know, I'll take care of the rest and all that stuff. And then we get into our third and final match of the night, PJ Black versus Prince Puma. And the biggest thing that I noticed and that I actually pointed out during our live reactions, Puma's mask is now entirely red and black. There's no yellow left from his original mask design.
Yeah, which I thought was a great insight by you. I love that Lucha Underground. See, that's what I really adore about this show, is that they don't have to hit you over the head with a hammer to tell their audience, do you see that? They really trust you. And some people fail like myself, and some people succeed like yourself in picking up those little things like, oh, did you see the mask change? And then they trust that you're going to appreciate the symbolism. I think that is so freaking cool that they have that level of trust and that they can be that nuanced with just the littlest things. But, partner, I'm going to tell you right now, because you always give me the courtesy with every Worldwide Underground segment. You have been a big advocate for PJ Black ever since, like, you know, his Justin Gabriel days in WWE. So this segment, you know, this match, and then the following cinematic, it's all you, brother. I'm just going to give my cliff notes at the end. So what did you think about all this?
I just love PJ Black as a performer, man. He's so good. He connects with me in a way most guys that I've seen don't. You know, he can do anything. I feel like when we do like our 5v5s list, I do end up saying that a lot, but in the grand spectrum of all of wrestling, I really don't say that about a lot of people. And the big reason why I say it so much in our 5v5s video is because I kind of pick out the guys that can do everything, and those are the ones that end up in my Fave 5. So, yeah, PJ is a special talent. This is a guy who has been wrestling since he was a teenager. I want to say he started training when he was like 14. Super, super young. He's still relatively young. He's in his like early to mid 30s right now. Still, really, I don't even know for sure if we've seen the best that he has to offer. I don't know if he's really technically reached his prime yet, but he's just so good. It's funny, I've actually been a fan of his going back, not even to Justin Gabriel, going back to FCW when he was just an Angel, when he was the FCW champion. There were some matches that he had in FCW that really caught my eye. I remember he was Daniel Bryan when he made his one and only FCW appearance as Bryan Danielson. His opponent was Justin Angel at the time. It might have even been Justin Gabriel by then, but that match was freaking awesome, and I loved it, and I honestly wish I would have shown you that before tonight so that you could have maybe gotten a taste of why I love PJ so much. But still, like, he's so good, and it just seems like every time he gets a decent amount of time in the ring, he ends up putting on a freaking clinic. And even though he had an amazing dance partner tonight in Puma, he did it again.
Yeah, I mean, dude, there's really not much I can add. I think you gave PJ a glowing review, but let me just say this, because I feel like my perspective is valuable too, but in another way, because as I've said before, I was never that big of a Justin Gabriel fan. I never hated him, right? But I always looked at him and I'm like, he's really talented in ring, but like, does he have a personality to kind of like bring it all together? And, you know, much like I'd learned with Johnny Mundo as well in Poetic Irony, I think you just need the proper environment. And what I love about Lucha Underground is they let PJ go out there and hang with Puma. And I love that too, because it helps Worldwide Underground as a faction. It helps Puma to have these kind of high-profile competitive matches. It helps PJ Black as an individual. Like, there is no losing here. And I love that he just has this aura of confidence and cockiness and I'm the darewolf and I'll do everything. And he lives the fucking gimmick. We've been talking about how he had another accident where he lost a freaking finger, for fuck's sake. Yep. So, like, he lives this gimmick, right? And I just, as a guy that was never the biggest fan, that knew guys and were friends with guys like you that were like, no, he's really good. He just needs that chance. Like, for him to have this platform, and then given the closing cinematic, which again, I am giving you full control over when we get to it, like to know that they're investing in him and saying, we're giving you the ball, you got this. Like, take it from a Johnny Mundo fan just waiting for him to get that big shot and then him getting it in the same place. I'm fucking thrilled for you guys. Because he really is. He's showing me. He's showing everybody. This is what WWE could have had they taken me more seriously, had they listened to my ideas, had they given me time. And Lucha Underground has done all that. And I think he is just doing some of the most brilliant stuff in his career. It's really, really wonderful. And for all PJ Black fans, you guys deserve this. So really cool. Puma does unfortunately win after 6:30, but I'll be damned if PJ Black didn't make it easy for him. I like that PJ is kind of following in the tradition of Finn Balor and others kind of using that shotgun dropkick. I don't know if that'll be a new thing going forward, but I think it is a good setup for the 6:30. It's pretty much a good setup for any close range, like high-flying move. So, yeah, Puma wins. I really have no other notes to make about this match. Unless you do, we can move on to our closing cinematic, which was crazy.
Yeah. PJ and Puma put on a great match. I think the really cool thing to me is that this really was like that star-making match for PJ, because I knew how good he was coming into this, but I'm seeing comments on Reddit and tweets talking about like, wow, like people are having their eyes opened to how good PJ Black is after that match. And that's what you love to see as someone that's been a fan of the guy since before that match, because it's like, well, now people are finally catching on to what I've known all along. And the beautiful thing, and I actually brought this up in between recordings, I love that Lucha Underground knows how to capture lightning in a bottle, and they're not just letting the ball drop on that. They're using the momentum that we got from PJ tonight, even though he lost, and they're carrying it over into next week, immediately putting him into another high-profile match where you know he's going to be able to tear the roof off the place with Rey Mysterio, which we found out in this next cinematic.
And, dude, and again, I want to give you full control, but here's just my 2 cents before I hand the ball back to you. I fucking loved how they set this up. Like, it's so perfect because this agent who just came in, like, a few segments prior, already blowing Cueto's phone up and doing the work, which him calling 18 times is perfectly in line with the personality that we got exposed to for what? A minute, 2 minutes tops. So back to you. I just wanted to say I loved how they set this up. So what did you think about how everything unfolded here?
Yeah, man. I mean, first we kind of see Cueto was on the phone and then PJ enters his office. But before he enters the office, Cueto is just like, oh, wait a minute, he's here now. And I'm just wondering, like, who's here now? And then we find out it's PJ. And yeah, Cueto talks about how this agent / lawyer has been blowing up his phone, called him 17 times since the end of the match. And PJ is just like, wait, that was 5 minutes ago. And he was just like, yeah, I know. And then the phone rings again. He pulls the cord out of the damn wall. And yeah, he tells PJ, like, look, I can't put you back in the Cueto Cup, but what I can do for you is put you in a match with the current #1 contender next week, Rey Mysterio Jr. So that's going to be our match next week. And then as PJ leaves, Cueto's cell phone rings and he just throws it in the trash. He's just done. And that's how the show ends. And by the way, I did want to correct myself. Earlier I mentioned PJ Black versus Bryan Danielson. The match I'm thinking of was actually PJ Black versus Caval. And the reason that I got them confused is because Caval versus Bryan Danielson was another match that I was going to talk about. That was Danielson's only match that I saw in FCW. So Caval was kind of like the missing thread there, but still Caval versus Justin Angel, whatever his name was at the time, was kind of a big eye-opening match for me. But yeah, this is super exciting because now we're going to get PJ again next week in another high-profile match. Hopefully he's going to get a decent amount of time. And another thing I love too about tonight, no Worldwide Underground at ringside. He didn't need him. Even though he lost, it was still really cool that he didn't even, like, they didn't even consider coming out and helping him.
One quick question for you before we move on to our next segment of high spots and low shots, because you pretty much articulated all my sentiments for this cinematic. Because I think it was Hypothesis in live reactions. It might have been somebody else, but I want to say it was Hypothesis. Wondered if PJ was going to be the first one to break from Worldwide Underground and not Taya. Do you think PJ may be getting ready for a technical turn maybe next season?
I don't know about that. I mean, honestly, the odds of Taya turning on Worldwide Underground or turning on Mundo went down significantly when they got engaged. Like, I know it was a real life decision, but kayfabe wise, Johnny Mundo putting a ring on that was an amazing business decision because now there's no way she's turning on him.
Yeah, and totally like against his ego, right? Like everybody probably thought, oh, who are you going to marry, Mundo? Yourself? Well, yes, actually, but I actually found somebody even better. So, yeah.
No, yeah, I was going to say, though, like the female version of himself.
Exactly. I mean, here's the thing, and I just want to kind of throw my own 2 cents in since I broached the question. I like where Hypothesis's mind is going because I could understand why he'd think that, right? No Worldwide Underground at ringside tonight. He was able to have a fucking barn burner. When you have really good matches, what happens? The crowd gets into you. And if he really has another competitive match with Ray, you know, and maybe he'll even feel a certain way. We don't know yet about them coming out. We don't know. But I like where his mind's going, but I'm more with you. I think when a turn's getting ready to happen, maybe we won't see it. Maybe Lucha Underground will fake us out. But I just love that PJ's getting this shine. With that said, I've got nothing else to say, though, so unless you do, we can move on.
Absolutely. Well, we can move on, but that's really all that there was. So if we're moving on to our next segment, not Lucha Underground's next segment.
Exactly. High spots and low shots. My low shot, Son of Havoc, gets attacked by Son of Madness before his match. And despite all of his passion and vigor about how I'm going to get back to Ultimate Lucha Trace and everything else, he still falls short to Dante Fox, who hit him with the Fox catcher. It's just been a rough time for Son of Havoc, and it continues. So he's my low shot. Partner, who's your low shot?
Sounds good to me. My low shot is Cage. He got disqualified in a match that he was literally about to win as the bell rung. And yeah, he's done in the Crypto Cup, and he let his rage get the best of him. And he is just slowly losing his mind to whatever God is possessing him from that gauntlet.
Absolutely. Moving right along, my high spot, Dante Fox. The guy advances. I mean, you know, he won a tournament match tonight, and there's only a handful of people that can say that, you know, 3 people. So he won. And here's the thing, too. He, in his own way, I mean, I'm not saying he didn't have any help, but he still had to go out and earn it to a certain degree because Havoc didn't roll over and die. So good job there by Dante. And I just love, much like Pindar, I love that Dante is getting this because it raises his profile and it makes him seem like the biggest deal. So Dante absolutely is my high spot.
All right, man. Well, you kind of left it open for me. I'm guessing that was intentional. And yeah, my high spot is PJ Black. Easy call for me. Lost the match, but put on an amazing performance, won a lot of people over, and even in loss, he is still closer to the #1 contendership and challenging Johnny Mundo for his championship than Prince Puma, who beat him tonight because of Johnny Mundo's amazing agent lawyer.
Exactly. I mean, to me, brother, PJ Black is now closer than anybody still vying for the Cueto Cup. And that is just insane to think about. So excellent choice. With that said, do you have any concluding remarks about Lucha Underground tonight?
No, sir.
All right, guys. With that said, this has been Lucha Underground. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my co-ordinator commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment, subscribe, and like the video. The more likes you leave, the more likely we are to be the top search result for Lucha Underground reviews on YouTube. And when you're the best at what you do, the top is the only place that you belong. So please leave that like. Gonna give a very quick rundown here, guys. All of the media that we're a part of, you can find in the description. And for Lucha Underground content specifically, my co-ordinator commentary is so on the freaking ball. He has playlists for essentially every bit of Lucha Underground content we've ever produced. He has playlists categorized by season 3, and then he just has a playlist for all Lucha Underground content ever. So if you're new to the process and you want to catch up, we're your resource. We are the ultimate Lucha Underground resource on the web. I guarantee you. And if you're already exposed, but maybe you think, you know, they have some really good gems on there, like John's mark out to Johnny Mundo. All in the freaking playlist, baby. all in the freaking playlist. So please check that out, guys. Now, two things I want to plug. First and foremost, of course, the Patreon. We have 3 amazing pay tiers. We have live reaction and review bundle. We have just live reactions because that is the more popular. You know, $10 an hour. So you have a 3-hour show, that's $30, and we'll live react to all 3 hours. And the pay tier I am most excited about by far, the TWitWoW Discord. At only $3 a month, you get the most intimate access to TWitWoW humanly possible, access to our Discord where you get to talk to Ashton and myself either about wrestling. There's a tab called Wrestling Talk, strictly for wrestling. There's a general tab where you can talk to us about music, games. Hey guys, did you hear about what's coming out at this convention or that convention? You know, anything your heart desires there. You know, that's a great forum for that. So yeah, anything you guys want to talk to us about, like immediately, Discord is your place. Only $3 a month, guys. And here's why I keep stressing the price point, because it's not just the immediate and intimate access, which also comes with other perks. Because if you guys notice, I don't talk about Raw on Twitter. I save it for the Discord. We've been talking about G1 a lot on the Discord. Had a very brief conversation about it recently. You know, you also get long-term purchasing power. So $3 a month, right? If you're a member of the Discord for 10 consecutive months, that's $30 saved up. And back to my preceding point, $30 gets you a 3-hour show for live reactions. You can cash your chips in. So it's a win-win-win, guys. So please, if you've ever thought, man, I would love to support TWitWoW's Patreon, they're doing amazing stuff, this is the cheapest way you could support us. That's really the most effective for you, because you get the Discord, and when you save that money up, you get to control the content, and there is no better feeling. Just ask people like Cliff, Jarveris, and others who have done it already, so please consider the Discord. Other plug I want to make, Q&A. 8 days until Q&A, guys. I've already gotten several questions. I'm very pleased about that. I took a look at my sheet the other night, and the questions keep coming in. You still have 8 days. It's over a week, so the window's open modestly for you guys to get questions in. You guys already know or should know the submission process. You can wait for this video to finish processing. Leave a comment with your questions there. You can hit either Ashton or myself up on Twitter with your questions. I have a pinned tweet directly dedicated to Q&A questions. I think, Ashton, you've said before that people that are a part of the Discord, they can submit questions to the Discord if they're members of that. If you're not members, again, Twitter, YouTube, we have a Facebook page. Leave a like if you visit the page, please, and then you can inbox us for questions there. I know that Alex Foster usually submits his questions that way. But, Ashton, I saw you were getting ready to say something. Was I right about the Discord, or should I redact that statement?
Yeah, man, they can say something on the Discord in one of the rooms or via a personal message on the Discord. Either way.
There you go, guys. So there is absolutely no reason. I always say this part because I remember the first Q&A we ever did. We had a fan that felt bad because they're like, oh, really wish I would have been a part of that. And that made me feel bad because, like, I love your enthusiasm about this, which is why I always try and be enthusiastic every outro. No reason why you can't get your voice in there. We want to hear you. Any question you have, look, if it's out of bounds, we'll tell you. Trust me. But I think we're very good about answering any and all questions. You get 4 questions per Q&A. I mean that's a lot to work with, guys. And if it's a question that you could pose to both of us, which I know the majority of our questions are, that's 2 perspectives for the price of 1 question. You can't go wrong. So please, guys, if you haven't, get your Q&A questions in, because that is going to be July 27th is Q&A, because it's the last Thursday now of every month instead of the last Friday of every month. So that's Q&A. Now, the most immediate stuff I want to plug. All that's left tonight is our NXT review. We'll be going live with that whenever, because this Lucha Underground review actually got done a bit quicker than we normally do. But then beyond the NXT review that's coming at you later tonight, Thursday is going to be interesting, because Thursday we have G1 Climax Day 2, which is really day 1 for the B block, because it'll be the B block competitors competing for the first time. Main eventing is Kenny Omega versus Minoru Suzuki. Going to be a shit ton of fun. And then later that night, we got Battleground preview and predictions. So just when you think, is the content going to lighten up? Nah, it ain't going to lighten up. We'll take it easy when we're dead. That's how TWitWoW rolls, bitches. So be sure to join us for NXT, guys. We've got a lot of great stuff coming for you. And until then, everybody, love you. Thank you always for the support. Tune in and peace out.